Hello, friends, and welcome to a special edition of the Mel D. Hall Show, where our goal is to inspire, educate, and entertain women. Today's show will teach us how to be a fabulous leader, and our expert on this topic is none other than fabulous university president and Harvard Law graduate Stephanie Barnes Taylor, Esquire. How are you doing today, Stephanie?
Oh,
Or Mrs. Taylor?
I'm doing wonderful. You can call me Stephanie. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Before we kind of get into speaking with you a little bit, I just want to read to everyone your impressive bio, okay?
All right.
Oh, all right, wonderful. So, Stephanie Barnes Taylor is a Harvard educated attorney with over 16 years of corporate experience. During her tenure as a corporate executive, she has acquired skills that have enabled her to personally develop aspiring leaders and professionals. Throughout her vast career, she has gained experience in organizational and leadership development, project management, and corporate strategic planning activities. Stephanie is a woman who sees the possibility in life and embraces the opportunity to excel. She makes a way out of no way. In 2009, when her company leadership identified that there were few women qualified for leadership positions, she created a 12-week leadership program for her former employer's people development program. Five graduating classes went through this life changing transformational class, producing vice presidents, directors, and managers. Several others received promotions and changed their excellence trajectory. Stephanie helped them to find the leader inside. Using her gifts of vision, inspiration, and compassionate confrontation at Fabulous University, Stephanie Barnes Taylor equips and empowers women to find their fabulous. Fabulous is the essence of each woman where she is her most confident, joyful, and beautiful. When women work with her, they experience a transformation from good to great, from potential to purpose, and from uninspired to joyful. When women work with her, they no longer struggle with confidence and self image. Her passion is to inspire excellence in others. Her company, the Fruition Group LLC, specializes in leadership and strategic planning solutions, seminars, workshops, and coaching. Her first book, Leading Your Life to Excellence, was published in 2012. She is co author of The Laws of the New Game Changers, How to Make Breakthrough Impacts That Take You Forward, published in 2013, Going the Distance for Excellence, Lessons Learned from a Marathon and Finding the Fabulous in You, were published in 2014. Let's welcome Stephanie Barnes Taylor. I love it.
Well, wonderful. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning.
Oh, you as well. You as well. So, I mean, obviously, Mrs. Taylor, you are highly accomplished. Harvard Law graduate. People dream of that to be Ivy League. Corporate executive. Just, just an excellent resume, and I'm sure life as well. So, tell us, how did you get to this point? To have your own business and teaching others. What made you leave?
Okay. Well, that's a great question. As you mentioned in my bio, I spent over 16 years, as a corporate attorney. I started out in a law firm and eventually ended up working for a company as a general counsel for, I guess, the last 10 years of my career. And I loved working with my clients. I did contracts and risk management and healthcare regulations. And eventually I figured out that I loved the aspects that I loved about my law practice were the strategic planning and process improvement. And I started to do more of that outside of the traditional legal arena. And my great discovery was, as you mentioned, when I started that leadership program, because I did it to expand capacity for my company, because one of the things that I've always enjoyed doing as a leader is to develop my staff. I've always made sure that my team had continued access to continuous education. They had performance plans because I wanted to see them grow. Because if they grew, I would grow. So I
Absolutely.
did, yeah, I did that outside of my department, started that leadership program, and that's when I was like, oh, this is what I really truly love. And so in about 2010, the latter part of 2010, I decided to embrace my mission. My mission is to inspire excellence in others. And I started my own business, the Fruition Group, and did that part time for a while. I did it on the weekends and at night, but my purpose was consuming me. And it was so hard to be a full time executive and to have my purpose on the back burner. So in 2014, I said, you know what? I'm going to make the leap. And I retired from my law practice. And ever since then, I've been a full time coach, speaker, and author. And I get the joy of principally working with women to help them find their inner leader through my transformational coaching program, Fabulous University.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. Now, to get to where you are now, are you self-made? Did you come from humble beginnings, or did you
Oh,
already?
yeah. Well, my parents, I have an awesome family. As I mentioned, I'm very inspired by my mother and my grandmother, my grandmothers. My parents were educators. My mom was a teacher, and
Okay.
my dad was a superintendent. He retired as a superintendent. And but my family, I, the greatest source of inspiration for me is my granny Ethel May, and my granny was from Arkansas, from Eudora, Arkansas, a little bitty little town on the Mississippi River, and she was a great source of inspiration. She made sure that all four of her children went to college, and it was hard to appreciate growing up. But the thing, when I finally got smart about it and really understood what my granny was doing, she prepared us to be able to do whatever it is we wanted to do. And she wanted the best for us, and she gave us the best that she could. And she worked from home. She was a stay-at-home mom, if you will. But when I think about what my granny could have been and how much greater she could have done, even more great things than she did do, had she had the access to the things that she made sure all four of her children did. And so all four of her children went to college, and every single grandchild, there's six of us, all six of us went to college, and most of us have a master's or higher degree. I mean, so I came from a family that taught me the importance of hard work, that instilled in me that I really could do anything I wanted to. And when I think about a lot of the things that I've done now, I can reflect upon my granny because I
Hmm.
didn't even realize what she was teaching me. But watching my granny do the things she did during the time, during her days, and it really taught me that, well, if granny can do it, I can do it too. And these were small things, but coming from a family that we worked hard, we made sure that we kept family important. One of my greatest places of inspiration right now, is getting together with my grannies, my aunts and uncles, and I call them Ethel's children. All of us, we are a great sense of encouragement for each other. So, but I was born in Mississippi, raised there, and had the courage to just go off by myself. Went off to New York for a summer after I graduated from Tougaloo College in '94. I just dated myself, but I went off by myself to New York City. This was before the time of cell phones, okay? And it was the most liberating experience ever. And it really taught me, if, kind of like the song, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But being able to do that again propelled me to being willing to take the risk of doing things by myself so that I could grow.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I Of course, I did my research on you, and I saw in an interview that you actually set three quit dates for your job. Is that right? And
I did. I
and it's
did.
a lot of people listening who have jobs now and want to go full time. So tell us the story of these three quick dates.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what put you over the head?
Right. Well, as I mentioned, around 2009, when I started that leadership program, that really sparked the desire to do something different. And I knew that I didn't want to retire as an attorney. And so I literally set a date. I said December 31st, 2010. Okay, so I set this date, but as we often do, I set this date, but I didn't really have a plan. I didn't really have a plan. I think I was expecting miraculously for this big opportunity to fall out of the sky. And, really, I had not prepared myself for it. And it was not time because there were so many other things that I could still do within my company.
Okay.
And so I stuck it out. And then I set another date. I think the next date was in 2013. And then that day came and left. And I was at a program in 2014. I was at I'm in a coaching program. I'm a coach, but I have a coach myself. And I was sitting in the audience, and they were talking about Jack A. Daniels, who is an awesome speaker and awesome psychotherapist and just a great coach. He was talking about people cheating on their jobs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he talking about me? Because I was like, I'm there and I'm doing my work and I'm doing my work well because it's just how I am. But I'm not really committed. And I was like, I will not and at that time I had set my third date of
Mhm.
June 30th, 2014. And I'm like, I'm not gonna let this date pass and it's do or die. And so I literally I left that meeting and went back to my hotel room and sent my CEO my 90-day notice because I was under contract, so I couldn't just quit. And plus, that wouldn't be the responsible thing to do anyway. But I said I will not let it happen again. And so, there never is really a right time, but you do have to set a date for yourself, set a plan for yourself, and then act upon it. Because you never know if you're going to be successful until you try, and you will never leave until you leave.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. That's quite a story. And look at you now, right? Look
Yes.
at you now. Look at you now. So let's talk about fabulous. What is your definition of fabulous?
Okay. Well, I've always used the word fabulous. I just love that word. It's just such a fun word, and it's often associated with, just great things and fun things and sparkly things. But for Fabulous University, it has a much more meaningful definition because, fabulous literally by definition means extraordinary. And so when I thought about that word and what I wanted to call my coaching program and what I wanted to see in particularly the women I work with men and women, but primarily women. But I wanted to show women the power of when they take the ordinary, their gifts, their talents, their ability to influence, and they add that extra. They add the benefits of working with a coach, the benefits of continuous improvement, the benefits of believing in what you can do, how you transform from merely being ordinary to being extraordinary. And so, fabulous for me and for my clients and at Fabulous University, it means, when a woman is her most confident, when she's rooted in her purpose, she knows what she wants and she takes action to achieve it. Because a lot of times we kind of stop at that third point. We're
Mm.
confident, we know what our purpose is, we know what we want, but for many reasons we don't take action. We may not have the resources or at the time, or may not recognize the resources that we have. We may need some assistance, and we may need to just believe and act upon that belief. So that's what fabulous means for me and for my clients is again helping them to take the ordinary, what they already have, add to it, and just create an extraordinary life, career, and in some cases go on to have their own businesses.
Okay, well, wonderful. And we're definitely going to talk more about your fabulous university program, its curriculum. And just to let everyone know, at the end of this episode, we're actually going to be giving out a special bonus code for you so you can get a discount if you enroll in Fabulous University. All
Yes.
right. I'm excited. I'm excited. I want to take it myself. I've seen the curriculum, and it's like everything you will ever need.
It's 2016, and unfortunately, gender bias and gender discrimination remain in the workplace. Now, there's a distinction between the two. The latter, discrimination, these are unlawful practices, but gender bias is something that's a lot more pervasive, and it's not necessarily something that's limited to men. Women practice gender bias themselves, and but it's a result of how women have been perceived traditionally, how
I
we
have a
have.
question. Do you mind
Yes,
telling us what gender bias is?
yes. That's what I was about to lead into about exactly what a bias is. In any situation, we bring to the table a perception, what we think about a setting, what we think about a person. We all experience biases. And these biases are based on our experiences, it's based on our value system, it's based on what we know. And so historically, women have been categorized in certain ways. Even though, again, it's 2016, there are still those tensions between, for example, the work at home mom and the mom in the workplace, the idea of a woman's role in society. And so, all of these perceptions, the historical depictions, how women are treated, how we're even viewed from a legal perspective, all of these things create a bias, if you will. They create a perception about how a woman is or should be. And so, with respect to leadership, these gender biases show up mainly in two ways. A woman's leadership style, how she actually relates to others, how she's actually able to lead, and the words she uses, the mannerisms, and those types of things. And then also, even, her appearance. And with the first aspect, leadership style, I like to think of it as a distinction between being a boss and being bossy. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember a few years back there was a ban bossy campaign, and it was
Yes.
largely, yeah, as a result of just trying to get the discussion and discourse. Sheryl Sandberg with Facebook. She, was trying to get the discourse going around, what it really means to be a woman leader. Her book Lean In, and the discourse around that really boils down to celebrating women when they lead, rather than denigrating them and calling them bossy or another much worse B word. So bossy
Mm-hmm.
tends to be misused to describe a woman when she's exerting her leadership skills. And there is this underlying bias towards women who exhibit what's called in the organizational leadership world agentic behaviors. And these are those characteristics that historically have been, they're even called masculine characteristics: being assertive, controlling, aggressive, confident, ambitious, being forceful, independent, and even competitive. And those are characteristics that are also heralded as great examples of great characteristics of leaders. But they are literally called masculine characteristics. And so when women exhibit these skills, when they are a boss, a great leader, they are not necessarily celebrated for being ambitious and aggressive and otherwise seeking power. And there are social penalties that kind of come along with
Absolutely not. I mean, let me tell you, absolutely not.
it.
Absolutely not. It's somebody who's had their own business, being in the
Yeah.
background with the insurance industry and everything like that. I mean, it's like it's amazing to me how I don't want to say. I mean, I guess say it's just chauvinistic.
Yes, it
Things
is.
still are, and it's like for a woman, and that's one thing I love about you. You teach on how to still be feminine and be a leader. Um,
Mhm.
because I'm gonna tell you, it's times where I've had to per se assert myself, things of that sort, and they look at me like I'm crazy. Or let's
Right.
not even forget this one where a woman will give a suggestion in a meeting and nobody hears it. But a man
Yeah.
comes and he says the same thing. Not
Same. Yeah.
even the same thing, not even 2 minutes later. Okay. And it's just
Hmm.
like the best idea
Right.
since sliced bread. Like I haven't, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because
Oh my goodness.
women are a voice in leadership that is speaking, that is making a contribution, but is often silent. It's silent
Hmm.
because, as you mentioned, in our society, even though we are a modern society, we've made incredible strides for women in business, women in leadership positions, women in the economy. We are still not the face of leadership because, as I mentioned, the characteristics that have traditionally been described for leaders or reserved for leaders are literally called masculine
Hmm.
characteristics. So one of the things that I'm committed to as a leader, as a leadership coach, and as a researcher is really changing the discourse, the words we use when we describe a leader. And one of the interesting things about this is, you know, as I mentioned in organizational leadership, they call it agentic and communal. And the communal characteristics are those that are also described as feminine leadership skills, and that's like being affectionate and helpful and kind and sympathetic and nurturing and gentle. The interesting thing about this is that when you look at other studies that describe what workers want in their leader, what those workers tend to describe are those communal characteristics, the things that women are naturally good at. And
Hmm.
there are studies that also show that, women, just by our nature, are better leaders. Yet,
Really?
we're not necessarily, yes, we're not recognized for that because, there are major or three categories. There's lots of different categories of leadership styles, but the ones that I study and use the most in my coaching are transformational, transactional, and laissez-faire. But there are lots of studies that promote transformational leadership or find that transformational leadership is what leaders should aspire to. And the interesting thing, again, is when you look at what those transformational leaders do, they build up their team. They embrace this participative leadership style. They involve their team in leadership decisions and they're very nurturing. They're very hands on. These are things that women are naturally good at doing, yet aren't necessarily celebrated as being good leadership skills.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you, what are, let's say, just 5 tips that you would give a woman or man
Okay.
who's listening to be a fabulous leader?
Okay. The first thing, as I mentioned, you must have a vision for what you want to be. Because, when I started out and wanting to be a better leader, I was all focused on title. I wanted to be a CEO. And I literally called up my mentor and I said, I want to be a CEO. Can you help me be a CEO? And then she asked me, well, what do you want to do? I don't care. I just want to be a CEO. I
Mm.
didn't have a
Mhm.
vision. I wanted
Okay.
this title. I thought that, well, that's how you get power. That's how you get influence. Is you get this title. But when I step back and recognize it, nope. It's about really having a vision for what it is you want to be. What do I want to do? Why do I want to be more influential? Who am I trying to help? Who am I adding value to? So that's the first thing is literally having that vision and not setting it out in terms of a material acquisition or position, but really thinking about who are you when you operate fully in your gifts? What value do you add? What qualities do you exude? And then how are you going to be when you are able to perform at your highest level? So, really thinking about that, writing that down, and being able to articulate it. The second thing is once you've done that, is to actually believe it,
Mm.
believe that you can do it. And belief shows up in several ways. It's the actual thoughts that you have, but your beliefs really do show up in your actions. Because if you say you're a good leader, but you don't act like one, you're revealing that you really don't truly believe in it. So that's the second
Mm,
thing is to reframe your mind, reframe your words and your outlook and your actions. So if you say you're innovative, then every opportunity that you have, innovate. Don't be the person that, well, that's the way we always do it. That's not innovative. You're contradicting your belief system that you say exists by your words. And then the third thing is you must really be your own source of motivation and create your own opportunity. And the way you do this is through your self regulation. Let's go back to Nicole. She took the class, but she took my instruction and she did something with it. She acted up on it. So, you know, as grown people, as grown women, there's nobody to put us in timeout if we don't do what we say we're going to do. So we
absolutely.
have to be able to develop tools and accountability systems that allow you to stick to your goals. And sometimes this is having good mentors, good coaches, but ultimately it boils down to being able to discipline yourself to do what it is you say you want to do. The fourth thing is, being know what's working for you and against you. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and these are either going to help us achieve our goals or they're going to defeat us. And so we have to be really honest about, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And there are no real true weaknesses as much as there are opportunities to improve. And so know that and do something about it. And then the fifth thing would be is, it's actually creating the life you want, creating it. Our life doesn't just happen to us. Life doesn't just happen to us. Success doesn't just happen. You have to create it and be an agent for your own success and constantly do things that move you closer to your goals. And when you have a relapse, get yourself back up and keep moving forward.
I love it. Creating the life you want. That's deep. Because you hear so much about creating the life you want, having the lifestyle you want, but I think it, in a sense, is kind of a little overused with no
Hmm.
instruction. Do you understand?
Right,
Overused with no instruction. So
right.
could you just
You've got
talk
to
a
have
little?
a system and a structure for it because there's the saying believe and you can achieve. I mean, that's a very meaningful statement, but it can also be very trite because you don't just sit somewhere and believe, right? You've got
Hmm.
to act upon it. And to create the life you want, you've got to have a system. You've got to have a deliberate way about going about things. Because otherwise, it is just a buzzword.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I like that, a buzzword.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And, another thing, when you say what's working for you and what's working against you, things like that, I listened to something that you did on Fabulous Finances. You're on YouTube. You have a video
Hmm.
called Fabulous Finance.
Yes.
You said something very powerful to me, and some might not think so, but I do, where you talked about how in order to have the finances that you want, you have to determine what you're going to give up
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
well, what you're going to sacrifice. Because you
Hmm.
always have to sacrifice something. Could you just talk a little bit more about that, the sacrifice, and,
Hmm.
what are some sacrifices that people or women could make? Because I know for a lot of women, especially when you are, trying to make it happen in your career, things of that sort, the first thing they might sacrifice is a relationship or social life
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
things of that
Hmm.
sort. And sometimes that can leave you kind of,
Hmm.
I want to say empty at the end of the journey.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then on the other hand, we hear so much about balance as well. So, what is your take on all of that?
Yeah. Because it really is a matter of embracing the or embracing the and not focusing on the or. And what I mean by that, that's
Hmm.
why, in my coaching program, an integral aspect is a discussion on balance and recognizing that, as a woman in particular, you don't have to choose either or. You can embrace the and. And what I mean by
I
that,
like
I'm a
that. I like that.
yeah, I'm a working mother. I've been married for 20 years. I have two boys. a huge tension my entire life. And even before I got married, once I decided on what my vision for my life was going to be, um, it has always been an exercise of sacrifice because as a working mother, I mean, you have to be at home, you have to be at work, you have to get your children. Like this whole weekend, for example, my husband and I have been. We had to figure out how to get our two boys to their respective sports events. I mean, so it's always this balance, it's always this process. And the important thing is to see your sacrifices not as a denial, but more as a deferral. And what I mean by that is, as a woman, you can have it all, just maybe not all at the same time. And that's why it's so important to have a vision for what you want to do and have a plan and work your plan. Because now I am not a perfect mother or perfect wife, and my career has not been perfect. And I've made some mistakes, and I've had some times where I've been off balance in different areas because I like to think about it, not really a balance as much as equilibrium, meaning that throughout your life, you don't have one area of your life that dominates to the detriment of the rest of it. So I can be a great mother and ignore my husband and not be a great wife. I can be a great wife and ignore my career and ignore my children. You see kind of how all of this goes together, which is why you have to really think about, well, what do I want for my life? When I lay down for the last time and close my eyes and leave this earth and my body's here, my spirit's gone, what do I want to have accomplished? And then that's your vision. That's what, because I can close my eyes right now, for example, and see my next goal. I can see myself as I'm progressing. And then you back that up with a plan. And your plan doesn't work out all the time. You have to adjust your plan, readjust your plan. Sometimes you have to put it on the back burner and switch some things around. But when you embrace the and, how can I do this and achieve that? And you look at it from that perspective and don't box yourself in thinking how I must be this or be that. That's
Hmm.
how you're able to really achieve really more equilibrium than balance. So, and I'll say this, being in a relationship is important. You need people. And you are more fulfilled when you have meaningful relationships, whether that's a romantic relationship or professional relationship or even your girlfriend. You need good girlfriends. Not you have to get the right people.
Absolutely.
It's extremely important. But that's why a tenet of my coaching is writing out your vision, what it is that you want. Because until you do that, you're just kind of going around haphazardly and you will find yourself doing the either or the or rather than embracing the and.
Hmm. I love it. I love it. Just like I used to do improv
Mm-hmm.
classes, and they'll be like, when somebody says we have a little game that we play, and it would say somebody would say, "I'm going to the movies," and then you like, and I'm getting popcorn. It was not a neither or. We're going someplace else. It was always adding on. So
Right,
yeah, and that's what made this show.
right. You have to embrace that and it's so funny, because one of the things that I encourage my coaches and even my children is, seeing life from a success point of view. How can I achieve it? And a lot of times we see life from a failure point of view and we look at,
Mm.
oh, I cannot. These are the reasons I can't. These are the reasons I won't. We kind of get focused on the not and we knot ourselves up. And so it's really important. That perspective is so important because remember I talked about biases earlier. Well, you can have a failure bias in that you frame your perceptions in terms of why you can't. But when you have that success bias, you frame your perceptions and your thoughts and how can I? Because there's always a solution. And it's important to
Absolutely.
look at life like a big old puzzle that you're constantly solving. You know, solve for X. My brother wrote a book, and one of the things that he talked about in that book was, everybody has an ex. My brother's real methodical. He's a athletic trainer, and really thinks about things from a systematic way. And that was like one of the most profound conversations that he and I ever had was when he talked about solving for X. And so that's
Hmm.
what you have to do in your life is solve for X.
I
There's a
love that.
solution. And so it's just really important to not see your life as a sacrifice, or not see your sacrifices rather as denial, but see them as opportunities to create.
I love it. I love it. And just going back on, thinking because one thing I have observed is that you're definitely all about mindset,
Mhm.
and you have these videos out about positive thinking,
Mhm.
having a positive mindset, and one of the things that you say in an article you wrote, I saw it on LinkedIn, your life is as good as you think it is, the
Mhm.
importance of positive
Mhm.
thinking. One of the quotes
Mhm.
from that article is, not only is it important to think on good things, it is important to act on good thoughts.
Yes. 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 Because so many times, we get caught up in faith, and this is particularly, I think, a challenge for believers. Is
Hmm.
yes, we get caught up on faith as
Oh,
believers,
wow.
and one of the things that I always talk about, is faith without works. And we forget about that whole thing. One of my favorite verses to read is like Hebrews 11 and 1, and kind of that entire thing. Because I remember literally the day, because, a lot of my leadership is psychology based, but it is ultimately based on my beliefs, my Christian beliefs. And the Bible is the greatest leadership book for me. So it's
Absolutely, absolutely. I say the Bible is
and
the best self
it's
help book ever because it's all about the mind.
right. And so that I remember the day, I reread because I've read that, several times, heard sermons on it. But I remember one day in particular, I read it and I recognized that, it said by faith, Abraham, blah, 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 by faith. And it goes through all these actions.
Yes,
And
yes.
go through it, and you start by faith. But every single person that's discussed in that whole litany of faith, they did something, they acted upon it. And, because God gives us great opportunities, He gives
Hmm.
us great talents. Each of us is born with great talent. However, if we don't act upon it, if we don't do anything to cultivate it and build it and to align with people who are going to build us up, those talents will literally be taken away from us. And, there's a parable of the talents in the Bible too. That is an incredibly powerful analogy that transcends, I mean, so many different situations. But, I can sit, and there literally was a time in my life in 2008. This is so funny because I kind of come up every year. I come up with a vision and I come up with these things. In 2008, I think I said this was my year to marinate. So I went. That was my year that I did all this thinking. I did all this reading, and then I said 2009 is my year to shine. And I was literally waiting. All right, I've done all this work. I believe, and I literally was just waiting on this great opportunity to just drop into my lap.
You
And I,
are.
yeah, I mean, I had forgotten the whole action thing. And I remember driving home one day. The song was by K. John. One day my ship is coming in.
Yes.
That I love that song. And that song came on the radio, and oh, I just bawled and cried, just ugly tears. Just a wonder. I don't even know how I made it home. I cried so hard. Oh my goodness! I mean, just lamenting the fact that this great thing hadn't manifested. And then I kind of had a V8 moment. I don't know. I'm kind of dating myself. V8, it's a vegetable drink. And years ago, they used to have this commercial, and I think they kind of brought it back. But the person would get a big knock upside the head about how great the vegetable drink was, and I said, "Wow, I've had a V8." But anyway, I had this V8 moment
Okay.
where it dawned on me, Stephanie, you've not done anything. You've not done anything to make this happen. You're literally sitting around waiting on your ship to come in. And so
Mhm.
So that moment was a teaching moment for me, but it has become a great teaching moment for my clients because you can read a class, you can go through an entire session of my leadership classes, and you'll learn a lot. But what are you going to do with it? So
Hmm.
that's the power behind that statement is, not only must you think on good things, believe you can, believe in yourself, have a vision, but you must act on those good thoughts. You got to come up with a plan, because life is a big old planning exercise. That's why I love strategic planning and process improvement. I mean, that's what we do. That's how we become better. That's how we expand.
Absolutely. And it's so many people, when you talk about this having a V8 moment and going through, your whole thing is self discovery. I could just picture it. I could just picture it. Um, I could just picture it because, sometimes, especially, as believers, we hear so much about faith and, wait on the Lord and all these things,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
which you should do. Which you should do,
Hmm.
but like you say, faith without works is dead. And like you said, I love
Hmm.
that Hebrews 11:1. I
Hmm.
suggest anybody listening to that, go say it to yourself. If you want to motivate yourself,
Hmm.
you can't, it's like maybe you can say the first one or two lines, but when
Yeah.
you get to that third line, it's just something that comes over you,
Yeah.
where you just say it, you just say it, you just say it,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like when it comes to anything you want to do, like you said, you must go and take action. This
You
this
must.
life out here, let me tell you, nobody got to where they are by just sitting around. This life
Oh
takes
no.
work. This life takes effort.
That is so true. We kind of we get we get lost in the promise of faith. And God's promise to us is believe in me and act on my words. Act on my words. Follow my words. Follow what I tell you. A lot of us
Hmm.
are praying for God to do something in our lives, and we miss out on the tools that He sends us. You know, He sends us people, He sends us resources, He sends us opportunities, and sometimes we get so focused on believing that it's going to come that we become blind to when it gets here because
Hmm.
we picture it looking differently and we picture it
Absolutely.
and and the hard thing, and this is something I deal with, I mean, today, I mean, personally, as I'm going through, because it's not easy having your own business. I mean, there are up days, there are down days, and I'm still working on this equilibrium, and
Hmm.
so there are days that I have to remember that success is usually the result of a struggle of some kind, a struggle of balancing work. And, there's some things that come to you fortuitously. I mean, you just get lucky. But even when you get that fortuitous break, you got to do something with it, And so it's important to not only believe, but do something. Do something that shows you believe it. Because if I sit here and just in my office waiting on my clients to show up, they're not gonna just pop up at my door and say, "Hey, Stephanie, I want to work with you." That's just not gonna. I have to get out there. They have to know I'm here. I've got to work with people and show that what I do adds value. I mean, I've got to do something. And so that's kind of the mindset that we have to get into is always looking towards how do I bring my belief into my actions? How do I turn my actions into outcomes that are going to give me what I want to achieve?
Okay, absolutely. So let's tell everybody about, I mean, Fabulous University. And
Okay.
first of all, what could they expect? Who are you looking to enroll into Fabulous University? I know you
Okay.
love women with big personalities.
Well, I mean, truly, 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 one of my great, great passions is helping women in particular. I'm a woman, and I'm especially inspired. The reason, that I decided to focus upon women. I'm inspired by my mother's experiences, my grandmother's experiences, and just thinking about, what if they had had certain opportunities? I mean, how much greater could they have been? So they are a great source of my inspiration in wanting to work with women. But um, you know, another reason that I focus on working with women is I truly believe that our society as a whole is as strong as its women. I mean, we literally give birth to civilization. We literally do that. We give birth literally to children, and we give birth to so much more opportunity and experience. And so, the more you cultivate women, I think the better you make it. This is not about an exclusion, us against them. I work with men as well, and this is not about, raising up an army of women and we're going to get rid of all the men. No, 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 no. It's all about making sure that women have a powerful place in society, in our businesses, in our communities, so that overall our communities and businesses and society can be more powerful. So that's a huge emphasis behind uh, the focus on women. So, but I like to work with women who are either aspiring leaders, they are existing, emerging leaders, they may already be very established, and then sometimes they may be getting ready or wanting to leap. And I categorize these in four different ways: a boss on the rise. This is a woman who aspires to be a leader. She may not have a formal leadership position yet, but she has the underlying characteristics and can do it. Then I have a boss on the move. These are new leaders, who have recently attained leadership positions, but they still have some work to do. They're emerging. Then I have the boss category. These are established women who may even be at the pinnacle of their career, but they still want more. And that's one thing that I want to stress. Regardless of where you are in your stage of fabulous, as I call it, you can always improve. And I always like to think of it from the perspective of an athlete. Top performing athletes are always training. The number one athletes in the world, they have a coach, they have training, they work out, they are still improving. And so we have to apply that same commitment in our leadership development. And then finally, there's the ready to be your own boss, which is a woman who is ready to become an entrepreneur. And so mindset is an incredibly important aspect of entrepreneurship, because you got to be strong to deal with the things that an entrepreneur has to face. And so everything that I offer is really looking at women in those categories. And my signature offering is the Having a Fabulous Career Masterclass. And this is a 9-week version or 9-module version of a class that you can either, if you're really ambitious, sit down over a weekend and take the whole thing, even though I really don't recommend that. I do recommend that you spread it out, because you get worksheets. You're not just listening to me. You get the benefit of Stephanie Barnes Taylor in your home office, on the ride to work. If you have a smart tablet or smartphone, you have access to my coaching. And I designed it this way because I know, women are so busy. We take care of everybody else, especially working moms, but it's not just for moms, but any woman who wants to be a better boss, be a better leader. I have removed the obstacle of having to be at a certain place at a certain time. So I give you the freedom to listen to it whenever you want to. But you get worksheets, you get you get research-based instruction. So it's based on research, but it is also based on experience. My 16, 17 years in corporate America, the experience of my past clients and research. And if you go through the entire thing and you fill out all of the worksheets, you actually go through the process of acting on what you learn. At the end of that 9-module course, you will have mapped out a plan where you can then take action to have the life and career and business that you want.
Well, let me ask you, are these like the worksheets and everything that people will do, are these things that you've done yourself?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. What I've done is I have mapped out the process and system that I've used over the course of my career. I actually still use these tools.
Okay.
And so what I've done is I really sat down one day and I thought about, as I've developed the leadership courses, as I have mapped out even my own life, how have I done that? And so I really reduced like 20 years worth of process of successes and failures to worksheets basically that map it out. And so the plans and questions and things that I ask, these are things that I've actually done. And the thing that I love about coaching, the best thing, in addition to helping someone else, is when I teach myself. And so I get inspired all over again when I work with the client and work them through something, because I just released, the article on the power of positive thinking. And as I was writing that and coming up with the materials that I post on Facebook and LinkedIn, I got inspired all over again. And so it was
I'm
a
sure
message
you
that even
did.
I needed to hear. And that's the thing, that's the beauty about leadership development is it is continuous, it is a renewal process, it is a re-energizing process. And that's why I say, I'm a coach, but I have a coach. And that's something that I will always commit to because having someone else look at you or look at things objectively gives you a different vantage view because you're emotionally connected to your own success and you are also less likely to be as honest as you can be about what it is you need to improve. And so that's the thing that an objective third party gives you, and especially a coach who cares about your development because I don't work with just anybody. I have a profile of the type of mindset that I want to work with because not everybody is coachable. And so
Absolutely.
I want to work with people who want to be coached, who want to learn, who want to listen, who are really ready to embrace the action and the sacrifice it takes to get to where they want to go.
Well, let me ask you, what is the offer code? Because we do have a special offer for anyone who wants to sign up. So please tell
Yeah.
us.
Well, you're going to love this code. I thought of you in particular when I came up with it. And the code, because let me tell you about the promo. The promo is I'm going to give listeners $100 off of the signature class, Having a Fabulous Career. And then you'll also have access to a $50 coupon for the selected classes that have a value of $400 or more. And in coming up with the code for it, I thought about you, and the
Mhm.
code is Mel D is fabulous.
Oh,
So,
isn't that nice?
yes, so that's the code. Mel D is fabulous. So let me tell you how you get to it. So this is a limited offer. This is will expire June 1st. But
Okay.
to apply the code, what you need to do is go to fabulousuniversity.me. And then once you get there, you'll first of all get some information about me, get some background. You can read more about what I do, but you scroll down to the bottom and you get to see all this really great stuff. And you click on Fabulous Online Courses, or you'll see that. And when you do that, you'll be able to, it's actually Having a Fabulous Career. And when you click on that, it's going to take you to the page where you are able to sign up for Having a Fabulous Career. And as Mel mentioned, I have other courses that complement the Having a Fabulous Career. So you can sign up for all of them. You can sign up for those that are of particular interest to you. But you just put in that um, Mel D is fabulous, code when you get to the payment page, and you'll get that coupon applied.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So make sure you all use it. Melody is fabulous. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just about some of the courses that you do have, because I'm looking over here at this curriculum. I mean, it's really like serious. You have in your fabulous career curriculum, you have like module one, create the ability to have a fabulous career. Module
Mhm.
two, sharpen your confidence and improve your personal and professional
Mhm.
relationships. Number three, create your pathway to life balance. Define your purpose. Number five, master the art of conflict resolution and negotiation, which is
Mhm.
great, especially if you're going to be having a team. Things always
Right.
come up.
Right.
Create a fabulous personal and professional image. I mean, if anybody has seen you, been to your website, anything, you are fabulous. That's one thing I can say. Like
Well,
your pictures,
thank
everything.
you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It is definitely a methodology to that. So I could.
And it's
It's,
deliberate. It's deliberate. And, and the thing that you mentioned, having a fabulous career masterclass is truly built upon what I did to get to where I am. And my life did not begin to get on the trajectory that I wanted into until I became deliberate. So
mm-hmm.
everything I say, I have to be even mindful about what I put on social media, because I've got all kinds of opinions, and some of them ought to be kept to myself. They don't add
Okay.
they don't add value, and they're inconsistent with my brand. So, I have a brand. Everybody has a brand, and so we have to be deliberate about that. And so, I really thought about what I wanted a woman, and again, men can go through this. It's leadership skills across the board, but again, I designed it for women. But if you go through this class, at the end of the day, you're going to have a laser sharp vision for your life and career. Because I really ask and share things that really get you to thinking about what exactly do you want. Sharpen confidence, improve personal and professional relationships because that is the heart of business, a personalized pathway to your life balance because what is balanced for you may not work at all for me and vice versa. Helping you to really define your purpose, helping you, as you mentioned already, to be proficient in conflict resolution and negotiation. I mean, that's what you've got to be able to do is stand up for yourself. And confrontation is not a bad word. It is a beautiful word because it is the ability to exchange different ideas to reach a mutually beneficial solution. And when you look at confrontation from that perspective, you'll embrace it every time. But also, again, helping you to define your personal and professional image. And again, giving you a plan for your personal and professional development so that at the end of this, you have a blueprint for creating opportunity that you can then follow. You can then work with me more. I can help you to actually put your plan into action. We can work together one on one. You can go and get another coach if you desire. But it gives you a blueprint so that you have gone through the critical exercise of thinking about what do I really want? And then how can I do it? And what skills do I need? And at the end of it, you have a foundation for consistent goal accomplishment.
And one thing about it, like I said, I actually know that you do work. Like you do work. You really do help these women create these amazingly fabulous lives, careers as well. And I actually got a testimonial about you where one lady, she worked with you and she said, working with Stephanie added value to my career. After taking her leadership class, I received two promotions within a year and a half. I would recommend working with Stephanie to others because she provided insight into your potential and nurtured it. And this is by In Guides. What is it that you're able to do with women or anyone? What is it that you're able to do? So I mean,
Yeah.
because those are incredible results.
Right, right. And it is truly rewarding. And the first thing that I want to say is, I'm like a catalyst because Nicole, that's the young lady to whom you refer me, she was already awesome. I mean, She had great accomplishments. At the time, she was a young nurse, very quiet and reserved, but fiercely determined, and just a wealth of opportunity and a wealth of potential. And so she and I worked together in my 12-week version, a live version of my class. And it was truly rewarding to watch her transformation over those 12 weeks and then to see what she was able to do with it. Because,
Mm.
as a coach, I facilitate. I don't do it for my clients. Like I didn't make Nicole do anything. I gave her tools, I gave her coaching, and then she was able to act upon that. But over the course of working with her, I gave her tools to help her build her confidence. And the first thing that I do with my clients is help them to understand how they can lead from where they are. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times we think, oh, I need to be in a leadership position. I'm not a manager. I'm not a CEO. I'm not in the C suite. I don't have a title. But, leadership is truly using your influence to motivate others to move. And you
Mm.
do that through building relationships, through adding value, through being able to communicate even. So, working with her and others, over the course of that class and others since then, we focused on like assertive communication skills, balancing work and life, and how to motivate and influence others. But most importantly, what I do with my clients, what I did with Nicole, was help her to create a vision for her life and career, and then to develop action steps because again, it's no good to have a vision if you're not going to act upon it. So when she went through the class, she was able to chart out her plan for her career goals, and then she followed her plan. And there others like her, but they followed the plan, and she was very successful in getting progressive advancements. And she's a shining example of how you can create your own success when you align yourself with people who believe in you and who are going to give you tools that enable you to really excel and to have what it is that you want. So, today my clients are able to achieve the type of success that Nicole and others had through my Having a Fabulous Career Masterclass and Fabulous University curriculum. And the thing I'm really excited about that is, it is an online version that literally gives women the leadership training that they desire at their fingertips.
So I just want to thank you for coming on. It's just been such a pleasure. It was a great conversation. I hope everyone listening to this has definitely taken away some golden nuggets, some wisdom to becoming a fabulous leader. Um, is there any last thoughts that you would like to say? And please let everyone know how they could reach you.
Yes, there are um, some things that I wanted to leave you with, and these are again some of the tenets of my teaching. First of all, I do want to tell you, first go to fabulousuniversity.me to learn more about the Fabulous University curriculum. You can also go to stephaniebarnestaylor.com. I made it very easy for you. Remember my name, you remember my website. You can Fabulous University there as well. But stephaniebarnestaylor.com. Connect with me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook as Stephanie Barnes Taylor. I'm on Instagram, it's Fabulous University, and I'm on Periscope and Twitter as Crowned at Birth. And that's because my name means Stephanie. I mean, Stephanie means the crowned one. So my mama named me Stephanie. I was crowned at birth. So that's the significance of that. And I love crowns. Whole nother story. But anyway, but please make sure that you visit my website to learn how we can work together and enjoy my blogs while you're there. And the final thought that I do want to leave you with is this. Every belief creates an action. Every action creates a future. Be deliberate in the future you create. Your life is a product of your choices. Choose to be fabulous.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. You all, thank you so much for enjoying this special episode of the Mel D. Hall Show. Thank you so much, Miss Stephanie Barnes Taylor. You all check her out at Fabulous University. Go ahead, work with her. Let her help you have a fabulous career. Do the offer code. Melody is fabulous. It expires June 1st, okay? And until next time, friends, take care and God bless.